Major questions heading into training camp with a special guest coming at you right now.
There's no better way to get better at football than playing football. So if you want to...
Taylor's going to finish it!
I've always been confident in my abilities. I think, I'm a guy that can go out there, and I always believe in myself that I'm going to get open and make the play if they throw me the ball.
The third. Ryan, end zone shot for Pierce. He caught it! Oh, what
a... Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Colts cast. We are here to talk about everything and anything Indianapolis Colts. Here's Jamal Lawrence, and I'm Eric Smith, your co-host of the Colts cast. And we have a special guest today. Joining us, our friend from the Riding the Bench podcast, one of the biggest Colts fans we know, my man, Justin.
What up?
Yo, what is good, boys? What an intro, by the way. That had my head bumping and nodding, but here we are now. Looking forward to it, boys.
How we doing today, Justin?
Chilling, bro. Chilling, man. I'm tired. I haven't turned this into a living yet. You know what I'm saying? So I got that 9 to 5 going on, but we're here doing our thing. So
just like us, man. Yeah, it's been a long day for me today. I know it has for Jamal as well.
Oh, yeah.
But glad to have you on. We've been meaning to do this for a while. I feel like the scheduling, it gets tough. It gets tough. Yeah. Everybody hit that like button. Go check out Justin's podcast as well. Give him a shout out, a subscribe button. And, while you're here, subscribe to us if you're unsubscribed. So you never miss an episode. But let's get right into it. Colts Nation, we drafted well. You got to see some OTAs. Got to see mini camp. Whether you're just scrolling your Twitter feeds for some Anthony Richardson content or you just wanted a refreshing look at our new team. You got both. Now, as we are approaching training camp, which I believe they haven't announced the dates yet, but we're looking at late July, early August, most likely.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Because we're going to be hosting the Bears this year for a little two-team matchup leading to our preseason game on August 19th. So it'll at least be going through joint practice, at least going to August 19th.
Okay. That's what I like to hear. Oh, we got a big Bears fan too that we gotta kick off.
Oh, yeah.
So guys, Bears fans actually exist. I didn't realize.
Oh yeah,
right?
They do. There's a ton of them. Super big market. What are the biggest questions heading into training camp? What are some expectations? This is what we're all going to discuss today. Any uncertainties? Let's discuss, boys. Who wants to start us off? Not everyone at once.
All right, fine. Listen, I will. All right. If you insist, I'll do it. All right. So a big thing for me, obviously, we're looking at how the quarterback situation is going to be split. So I'm going to try to leave that alone, or at least I'm not going to be the one to bring that up. For me, though, right now, with what's going on with Isaiah Rodgers, obviously Stephon Gilmore with the Cowboys, I need to see who is stepping up in this secondary, right? We need some guys that are ready to play now. It feels like there's a while to the season. Is it like 80 days? I'm not keeping an exact count, but we're very, very close.
We're getting close.
Guys like Dallas Flowers, right? Tony Brown, Jalen Jones, right? Darius Rush. These are guys that have an opportunity to step up. But for me to pretend that I'm wildly optimistic about the state of our secondary would probably be a lie. So
I don't think you can't be a true Colts fan, and sit there and say we're good on our secondary just because we drafted a few corners. I don't believe that. I have to at least go in there a little cautious, But yeah, with the Isaiah Rodgers, gambling infractions, like with him not having those infractions, we were already pretty razor thin at corner.
Right.
Now he's most likely gone. People are still holding out hope, trying to see what's going to happen. I'm assuming he's not going to be there. And you ask who's going to step up. I have to assume Julius Brents, right? Little Juju Brents. He's a 6'3".
He's got to play. He's got to get on the field.
Yeah, he's got to.
Yeah, he's got to, and hopefully he starts. I think he's ready. He's NFL ready. He's probably our most NFL ready corner that we drafted. 6'3", 200 pounds, athletic corner with long arms. He's a great tackler. I think he's ready. I don't know about you guys, but I think he can be inserted to a lineup. I haven't seen much on him, in camp and stuff, but there at Kansas State, he looked like the real deal. So I think he can make an impact day one. I think he should fit well in that zone coverage, that Gus Bradley scheme. I think man coverage might be a little struggle for him just because he has some speed issues. You know, he doesn't have that top end speed to keep up with players vertically. But I think, you know, playing in that cover 3, I think he'll be ready to go.
Yeah, fully agree. I mean, Ballard, we know he loves defensive guys, man. He was planning on going for Juju from the beginning. He fits that zone scheme, like you mentioned there. Probably out of the best between him and Darius for our guys we drafted here coming out from April. But I really feel like he is going to be the person to step up right now. I know there's a lot of talks about we should get a vet, whether that be a vet to come in and start or a vet just to come back and kind of mentor for the time being. But I really just feel like and Ballard's heart of hearts and, you know, maybe even Shane Steichen, they feel like at this point, why not just go ahead and let the young boys figure out how to get it done? I mean, if you're going to make mistakes, why not make them now during I don't want to say still a questionable rebuild season, but for what it's worth, still that rebuild season, trying to get yourselves to the next level. This is a perfect trial and error time for them.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does, right? I mean, hometown guy, so it would be a great story. Not that I'm from Indianapolis, but he is, right? And, you know, the one thing I am keeping in mind, despite the fact that I think Ballard's greatest strength is his ability to draft, we look at some of the second-round corners he's taken in the past, not to be the guy that's all negative and stuff like that, but Quincy Wilson, who I mean, if I've ever been high on a player in my entire life, Quincy Wilson was the guy. And he obviously that didn't work out. And then Rock Ya-Sin, who was okay for us up and down, but obviously we traded him. So Juju Brents right now, as it always does in the offseason after the draft, feels like he's going to be that guy, but we don't know. That's the big thing with this secondary is we have absolutely no answers whatsoever in this secondary. We don't know much about anything. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and you know, let's talk about Kenny Moore a little bit because Jamal, I know that's your guy. So, like, what are we doing with Kenny Moore? Because I don't think we can start him on the outside, right? I think he stays that nickel corner. You know, he obviously hasn't had a good time in Gus Bradley's scheme. Like Matt Eberflus, he was thriving in that as far as just being a pure ball hawk and leading the team in interceptions, I believe. You know, just had more of an impact because he's been getting destroyed in some one-on-one matchups last year. Like I mean, there were a lot of jokes about him on social media. I mean, he was getting burnt a lot, but I'm wondering if he just really isn't a scheme fit in this Gus Bradley defense, or, you know, just an off year. Like what's going on? I just think you can't put him you can't put him out there on the outside. I think it's going to be Rush, Brent, Jalen Jones. It's got to be somebody else. Even Dallas Flowers. Dallas Flowers may be the one to step up. I don't know, but Kenny Moore doesn't seem like an outside starting corner to me.
Yeah, I kind of felt like from the very beginning when Gus kind of stepped in, he was not high on him at all. And it kind of showed throughout the season. He didn't really play at all to his abilities. And I don't know how much of that was just personal or how much of that was he truly just doesn't fit into the scheme. I kind of feel like now at this point, he's going to have to embrace his role no matter what it is, especially with what, you know, the cards the Colts have been dealt. And he seems to have picked up his moods, especially towards the back half of the season and really going into the off season. I remember during the season, he was really low the entire time. Every time you had an interview with him, he was just talking about how much he didn't enjoy this, didn't enjoy that. But now he's kind of more trying to get back in that light of embracing his role, of who he is and what he brings to the team. So I think that he's going to try to take this opportunity to maybe touch up on his craft a little bit, because I'm sure he probably wants that outside spot. We know he doesn't like being called the nickel guy, but in reality, that's what he is. So I think that he's going to have to, if he wants to get an opportunity to bump out to the outside, he's going to have to bring in way more than anybody else who we have on our roster right now.
Absolutely. A lot on the line for Kenny Moore this year, honestly. I mean, you think about all the noise he made, and I was defending him, mind you, at the time. All the noise he made about a new contract to come out. I mean, the morale on this team last year, understandably so, I guess, but they're an NFL team. They get paid a lot of money to play, was absolutely unacceptable. And when you have guys like Kenny Moore, who are really the veterans on this young team, he's the type of guy I look at. You know what I'm saying? When you have to turn this thing around from a locker room standpoint, galvanizing the troops, Kenny Moore has to come out and do that. Maybe he's not going to be the quote-unquote best nickel corner in football like many people thought he was, but he better be a piece of making sure that this defense shows up to play, because Lord knows we need it this year. So,
right. Yeah. I think people are trying to say we're still going to have a really good defense, but we kind of lost a lot of pieces. Like Bobby Okereke. Dang, which one is it?
It's okay, okay. You had it right.
Tomato,
It don't matter now.
tomato. We know who he
Yeah,
is, right?
tomato.
So,
Fabio Okereke's gone. As far as our, one of the best pass coverage linebackers on our team, we lost him. Stephon Gilmore, that was my big player last season. I said he was going to be the most impactful player on the team. I got killed for it because I said Matt Ryan was. Here we are. Here I stand. Stephon Gilmore, gone. Isaiah Rodgers, most likely gone. Yannick Ngakoue, no matter what you think about him, he had 8 sacks, gone. Like that, this isn't the same defense as last year. It's going to be a little different. So, yeah, our cornerback group, that's going to be one of the biggest question marks, I think, just heading into this training camp.
Yeah. And you think about all the best players on the defense outside of, I would say, Buckner and Grover Stewart, which I think maybe one of the most underrated tandems in the league. I mean, these are all guys that have to not only prove themselves that they're going to be, playing at a level we've seen them play at, but like to stay healthy. You have to think Shaquille Leonard, the linebacker formerly known as Darius, right?
Let's talk about him.
You got Julian Blackmon on the back end. I mean, these are guys that have to not only prove that they're going to play well, but stay on the field too. So, a little worried.
Yep. What do you think about Shaquille Leonard's? Because we've talked about it before. Do you think this is it for him? Will he make that comeback? Because we really thought last year, like we heard so much encouraging things during the offseason, like, oh man, he's progressing well, he's going to be ready week 4, like things like that. And here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I want to be super optimistic, but when you see him, and I always hate comparing it to the Andrew Luck situation, but I can't help as a fan kind of feeling like when you hear him say some of that stuff, like, man, can I ever get back to that point? And you start hearing that talk of like, he has to prove it to himself, right? Like, is he falling out of love with the game a little bit? I'm not saying he is, but this is the questions I have. I need some sort of answers. Everyone's like, yo, this guy's going to be healthy. Not for anything. There's still no timetable. And all they say is, yeah, he's getting better. He's getting better. And it's like, all right, well, let's see him get on the field, right? Because we paid him a lot of money. A lot of these other guys haven't been paid yet. For me, Shaquille Leonard, who, again, I mean, he's literally, it's right there. I have him on my wall. So it's not like I'm hating on the dude. But at the same time, man, like, this guy's one of the top 3 to 5 defensive players in football when he's healthy, right? And, he has to be healthy, as is the theme of the Colts defense. So we'll see. I don't want to put any bad juju on it. Like, I don't even want to do anything. I have no expectations, but I want some answers.
I like that. No expectations, but want some answers. No, you're right, man. I mean, it's putting the him and Fred Warner conversation to rest because Fred's been there on the field playing versus Shaq, who has not been on the field playing. And it's like you mentioned. I mean, he even talked about originally how he's starting to fall out of love with the game, the stigma, all the kicking the stigma stuff happens. Then the injuries happen. And he's just not himself. And it's just been weird. Again, I'm in the exact same boat as you, especially when it comes to the Andrew Luck situation, man. We pay this man a lot of money. We expect you to be on the field doing what we need to do. You got to give us something. When Reich was there, I expected nothing more of than it's timetable. It's no rush. This is that. That's just his lackadaisical. That's him. That's Frank Reich. We know that. But then once we see Steichen in the building, I'm like, all right, bet we're gonna finally get some answers. We may get a little bit of insight. Nope, we're still waiting to hear from this physician. Still waiting to hear from that physician. Well, we don't know. Is going to be back. We're not worried about him being back right now. Well, we're worried about him being back because I hear Franklin's worried about him being back. The Colts defense is worried about him being back. I'm sure everyone in the organization is, and I know that they have to keep stuff in house. But at some point, like you mentioned, you have to tell the fans and the rest of the league, what time it is, because we're in a situation where how can we trust that the defense is going to be able to come out and produce the same way they did last year when we have so many missing pieces to our puzzle? And we still have one who came back, for a game or two, then broke his nose and got a concussion and everything, then went back out again. It's just hard to embrace what that defense can bring to the table when there's so much uncertainty.
Yeah, because when Shaquille Leonard, formerly Darius Leonard, when he signed that extension worth $100 million, like I said to myself, like he's the best linebacker in the league, at least off ball. Like he deserves this money. Like he's such an impact player. Like he didn't miss a beat in the 2021 season. 122 total tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, 4 interceptions, 8 forced fumbles, 8 passes defended. I really think his middle name should be Impact because he literally does everything. The Maniac went crazy. I bet a lot of people forgot he won Rookie of the Year, 4-time All-Pro. You know how good you have to be to make all pro, but to do it 4 times, like,
And then to 12 turnovers by yourself. You go ahead and do that math and apply that to the entire defense. Have you ever heard of a defense in your life getting I'm not a mathematician. What is that? 122, right? 12 times 11. All right, someone
It's wild.
confirm. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, that's insane. So the Colts are going to need him on the field. And I just hope he is. It's so much heartbreak being a Colts fan these past few years, to be honest with you.
It really,
It's been
has
a change of pace since I was younger, man. Not that I'm
Right?
not young now, but I mean, sheesh.
Well, I
we-
like that you say that change of pace, because we know those Peyton Manning era days, man.
Yeah.
I used to have Peyton written all over my walls. I have
Yeah.
autographed jerseys, helmets, all this other fun stuff, because when Peyton was there, it was fun. Then the injury came. Then we went all back down. Then we pick up Andrew Luck. The hype is back. We're here. Everybody's happy. Then Luck says, all right, I'm out. Then we are like, uh-oh, we're in trouble. The carousel starts going. One quarterback after another, after another. This is our guy. No, 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 this is our guy. Now we're at a position where we have a young quarterback, 21-year-old, just turned 21 last month, 13 games of experience in college. Now he is looking to be the starter. We're not guaranteed he's a starter because we have to wait for everything to go through. But I know just as much as anybody else, he wants to be the starter of this team. Guys, what do you think he has to do in training camp to win this starting role?
I'm like 50-50 on this. I don't know who's gonna win it. I think this is an actual mystery because they've been splitting the reps. Like Anthony Richardson gets half of them, Gardner Minshew gets half of them. I'm starting to think Gardner Minshew may just start, week 1, week 2, week 3, and they just see how it goes, see how the season's going. Like I said, if the Colts go 3-0 under Minshew, I think they just keep Minshew in there. They might have Anthony Richardson in at the goal line or something like that. But I don't know if he's going to start right away. I want him to because we keep saying he's the most inexperienced quarterback since Mitchell Trubisky. Look how he turned out, blah, blah, blah. So let's get him some experience. Yeah, like I'm just saying, you got a rookie head coach. You got, we have a lot of holes on our team. So if we're going to experiment, we can experiment now. But I do want to see how the preseason goes. Let's see how he looks in the preseason. That's going to be a big telltale sign.
Absolutely. And listen, I know our fan base is going crazy, just like this is the savior. The Colts have been pretty clear that, it's all about development and patience with him. And in theory, you would think that Minshew has a pretty big leg up here, right? Between NFL experience already existing and then being in Steichen's system last year. We're all talking about Anthony Richardson. Minshew's, not a scrub. Obviously, is he the franchise savior? Probably not. But when's the last time you've been this excited to watch a backup quarterback, right? We had Jacoby Brissett, Jim Sorgi. I loved Jim Sorgi. My favorite part about him was that he was never on the field, right? So you have a guy like Gardner Minshew, who I would be happy to root for, and not for anything. I think the Colts have set themselves up in such a way with the way they've handled the media, where hopefully there wouldn't be too many questions if he came in week 1 and started. So we'll have to see. And again, it's all about monitoring what goes on during training camp with the snaps here. But I think they're very willing to let Gardner just take this starting job. I think if Anthony gets the job week 1, he'll have earned it. It won't be given to him.
Yeah, Gardner is a high-end backup. He's got the swag.
Oh,
He's been in Shane Steichen's system. Look, I would be okay with it, but I'd also, part of me is rooting for Anthony Richardson to be out there week 1. But again, still a lot to see. That's just how I feel.
You'll end up seeing him whether he starts or not. I think at the minimum, I think he gets that Trey Lance role that the Niners had him in his rookie year, right? Obviously saw that QB sneak that they were doing with Jalen Hurts last year that everyone hated. I did too, but I like it now. And, maybe we get Anthony Richardson on those sets, even if he's not the starter.
Just hopefully he doesn't become the next Taysom Hill. Gets plunged into that role for the rest of his life. But no, all jokes aside, yeah, I do hope he gets to see the field. Yeah, Anthony Richardson, I'm rooting for him, man. What about Jonathan Taylor, guys? What's going on with him? We just did an episode, but we kind of did the episode right when we found out there was news of contract talks. So I think this is a very tricky situation. And I also think if he would have replicated that 2021 season into 2022 in any shape or form, with no injuries, I don't think there would even be a question whether to extend him. I think the deal might have been already done. I mean, we would be saying he's showing no signs of slowing down. He's the best running back in the NFL, yada, yada, yada. I just guarantee we wouldn't be talking about the running back position, the short shelf life, things like that, if that was the case, right?
Yeah, we 100% wouldn't be. And I'm all about JT, man. Everything he does when he's on the field versus off the field, it's just, he's all about being the guy he can be. And JT has a lot to prove, especially after coming off this injury, Eric. I mean, we talked about this last episode where the 2021 season, what he had, the Colts were 9-0 or 9-1 with games with him getting over 100 yards a game. Crazy stats. I mean, crazy stats. Obviously, that didn't happen last year for us, but there were more issues than one with the offense last season. So we know that happens. And his injury, was that a part of the poor play throughout the entire offense? Who knows? I'm not entirely sure. However, I do know that he has a lot to prove this year. I think that the Colts are going to try their hardest to probably get this deal done before, sooner rather than later. I just think that he's a pretty integral piece to this offense that I know that we talked about last week, and you said, the running backs, they are important players, but they can be replaceable. I still feel like in the organization, he's held to a little bit of a higher standard than what, maybe another running back would have been, or maybe, obviously a Naheem Hines, for example. So I think that Chris Ballard would like to keep him around. I think that he can be a value player. And like I mentioned last episode, man, if we're going to pay this man upwards of that 16, $17 million, I'd like to see some incentives in there for on the field, him getting a certain amount of yards, getting touchdowns, not fumbling the ball. We saw him pick up a couple fumbles last year. That was an issue he had his rookie year. That's why he got benched his rookie year. He had a problem when he was in Wisconsin, but 2021 was the year he turned it around, no fumbles. Then we kind of saw that regression last year. So I kind of want to see, maybe if we're going to pay him that money, give him some incentives in there to hold him accountable. As much as I hate to say to hold Jonathan Taylor accountable, but to hold him accountable, to make sure he's on the field doing what he has to do, because I know off the field, he's preparing the way he needs to, but I just want to see the team really elevate with him back on the field.
Absolutely. And I do think that part of what they're going to be waiting on is to see exactly how close they can be to competing in any capacity on Richardson's rookie deal. And obviously this year is going to be a huge tell in that, because if there's a time to pay a running back, people say you're not supposed to pay him. You don't have to pay Richardson for quite a while. You know what I'm saying? And you think about some of the great teams in the league, teams that are making really big runs, have these young quarterbacks on these small deals. And obviously they're all getting paid after the fact. But if maybe they're in that 500 range this year, I view that as a scenario that makes it much more likely that they end up paying Taylor. Because I don't think they have any questions about him, the guy, and him, the running back. I mean, he's sensational. And as you were saying about incentives, there were a couple of turnovers last year that were really, really inopportune. But then the incentives gets weird, right? Because then almost as the organization, maybe someone's making a call into the sideline, right? Like, oh, he's 20 yards away. Not saying that, the Colts would operate that way, but that is a complication. Running back contracts are very, very weird. But I do think that they end up signing Jonathan Taylor just because he's so much a part of the identity of this team. You could argue he's the face of the franchise. Obviously, we have the young quarterback, so, he just gets the nod because of that. But JT is our guy. You have him on the wall. I have him on the wall. So, I mean, let's pay him.
What kind of contract do you think he's going to get?
Oh, geez. I don't know. I'd be lying. I'd be lying if I said I knew enough about that type of thing. I know around the market value, but I mean, geez, if I were an NFL team and I were concerned, me personally, forget about what's realistic. If I were concerned about kind of paying a guy past his prime, I would just be throwing running backs especially ones that are an integral piece of the offense, just enormous amounts of guaranteed money over the course of like 2 seasons at a time. This way, the running back doesn't feel like he's getting gypped and not getting paid in his time. And then as the organization, you're not really on the hook for like this long-term deal. That's how I'd be operating. I'm sure there's a flaw in that because teams aren't doing it yet. So I don't know.
Yeah. I always try to look at it objectively. I hate doing that to Jonathan Taylor. He's one of my favorite players on this team. But just looking at the running back position, how many great running backs, in the league now, like how much value do they bring to, making the team contend in the Super Bowl? We've talked about like the last few running backs that have won a Super Bowl, and I don't think you would say they're a top 5 running back. Jonathan Taylor is, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, things like that. How much can they do for a team to carry them essentially? Because we've seen great quarterbacks carry like that. That's really what it is now in this league. So I'm always wondering, and I think I'm leaning more to signing Jonathan Taylor just because we got Richardson on this rookie contract. We have the cap space. So if you're gonna do it, you might want to do it now while you have the chance. So, but I do want to, bring that up, that running backs. I mean, we even saw when Zach Moss got in there last year for a few games. I mean, he was bruising it through. Like, I think he might have averaged 4 to 5, maybe 5 yards per carry, closer to that number. But I'm just saying, I'm trying to look at this holistically,
Moss was shockingly good last year.
Yeah.
And I was. If you heard some of my private conversations with my friends about Zach Moss, it was what it was, man. But he was pretty good when he was on the field. I didn't hate that at all.
Oh, man. Yeah. I think we were talking about that trade. We were like, man, can't really do much with that. But
worked out in our favor.
Yeah, worked out in our favor. And anything else we need to discuss about?
Yeah. I think we got to at least discuss this right guard position real quick to see what you guys feel about that, because I think it's a pretty important piece. And I'm going to be the first person to tell you right now, as much as I would love to try to find a guaranteed guard right now, I think I'm okay with keeping Fries right there for now. I mean, we have Raymond, who I feel like is on. He should be on trajectory for a really good year. He's picked up a lot from last year. He kind of understands his role a little more. You got Quinn Nelson, who I feel like should be in a different headspace now. He wasn't in the same headspace he was last year because he was already kind of teed off that the team waited so long to sign him. So I'm sure that played a little role in everything. Plus, I just felt like it was just a mixed bag of crap going out throughout the entire offensive line. So you have a Quentin Nelson who's probably ready to step up and teach a little bit more. Ryan Kelly, who is finally back on the field. I know he had a lot of off-field issues, but even before those off-field issues, he was still having issues. So he was a hit or miss. And then Braden Smith. I mean, guys, I've talked about him 1,010 times. JT running behind him is averaging like 6.8 yards or something crazy like that. Those 4 pieces to the puzzle I think they'll be okay with missing that small piece at guard. We have Fries, who's already been here. It's not like we're going to be putting in Matt Pryor or we're bringing in another person. We're going to have Fries, who was here, who did subpar, but I think it's a learning curve. He can get back in there, pick up from this year. And if we have Ryan Kelly playing to his potential and Braden Smith playing his potential, they can essentially just kind of carry Fries and make him look better than what he is, I personally think.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Relax there. We tried that experiment last year to try to carry 2 positions. Look what happened.
I know we had Matt Pryor at
left tackle.
Who played,
tackle.
Yeah.
It's left tackle. There's something to be said about continuity as well on the offensive line. It's obviously every position group's based off communication on some level, but the line particularly, especially when you're talking about the horrific pass protection that we saw last year, paying these guys a boatload of money. Yeah. But I think just Will Fry is in between. Again, Braden Smith is great. Ryan Kelly, I think, is great. I don't know. Right. He's got to get it together, right? But at the same time, everyone on that line, if we roll in with Fries, is going to end up being the same as it was towards the second half of the season with Jeff Saturday, which obviously we're a little bit better. Not that it's saying much, but sure. I mean, the continuity I think is going to help. Of all the things I'm worried about on this team, it's not the offensive line, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Respect that.
Yeah, that's bold. I think we should bring Matt Pryor back. I think he was left.
And on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, y'all. No.
Yeah. Tight end's also one to watch, guys.
Oh, yeah.
We got 7 of these bastards on the – well, that was rude. We got 7 of these dudes. Yeah, we got 7 of these dudes on the roster. Jelani Woods, obvious choice. Everyone talking about him. I am huge on the Kylan Granson train right now. I mean, people are not giving him enough credit for what he was able to do for us last year. I think he was a 3rd and 4th on the team in receptions. Again, I think that was 31 receptions. It's not crazy, but he's nice. And Shane Steichen seems to like him. I think Mo Ali Cox is going to find his way out of town, if I were to take a guess, with all the dudes that we have right now.
I would agree. I would happily agree with that.
Yeah, and Granson's getting first-team reps right now. So I think, with Jelani sitting out right now and nursing that hamstring, I think it is, I'm Granson, I'm eating this stuff up one by one, because he got a lot of PT out there last year for us. And like you said, Steichen likes him. I think Jelani will get that spot. come game time. But I don't know. I think if Granson can show that he wants to pass block or run block, and he can be a good run block, I think that'll elevate him to another level because I don't see anybody else in that group. Of course, we haven't really seen anything from Ogletree because he was, he had the season-long injury last year. But I mean, Granson may be the only person who wants to step up and run block. And if he does, that's his spot for the taking in my eyes because you got to have a run blocker at tight end. You got to.
It'll be interesting to see who makes the 53-man roster within that group. You said about 7. Like, we drafted Will Mallory, still got Andrew Ogletree, Molly Cox, Jelani Woods, Kylan Granson. Like, how many tight ends are they going to carry into the season? So I think that will be interesting to see. I think Jelani is an automatic lock, Kylan as well. So that doesn't leave much room. So we'll see. Hopefully Jelani gets used kind of like Dallas Goddard, get used in that type of role. But, we'll see. I'm a big Jelani fan as well. Like
how can you not be? He pops off the screen. It's very rare that you see a guy get I don't even know how many receptions he had, 12, 15. Mm-hmm. I mean, what did he have last year? I feel like every time he touched the ball, he was about to fly out of my TV screen into my face. I mean, guy's insane.
Big dude.
Yeah, man.
Insane mismatch for a lot of defenders. So I hope we utilize him in the right way. Get him the ball. There was just plenty of games last year. I was just like, just get Jelani Woods the ball. What are we doing? Scheme him out there. Come on.
Or any tight end at that matter. I mean, my goodness, we had so much size and we just didn't use it at all. I mean, I feel like everyone on the team is 6'5". And we just don't use it. But Shane Steichen seemed to like that type of thing in Philly a little bit more. He used the tight end quite a bit, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see, man. Look, I think that's a wrap up, boys. Right? There's a lot. There's a lot of questions, but it's an exciting time to be a Colts fan right now. So I can't wait. Training camp's going to be nice, preseason, all that. It's going to be great to just see football back again. College football, professional football, all that. I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
Oh, absolutely. I just need a click remote. You ever see that movie with Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
I need to fast forward now. We're at that weird part of the season in football where it's there's the draft's gone, right? I mean, we don't even know the date of training camp yet, but it's the next thing to look forward to. So we kind of have this lull period right now, but it is what it is. Thank you guys for having me on, by the way. This was a dope time. I really enjoy what you guys are doing over here.
Need to do this more often. So
you guys are welcome on mine anytime, by the way. Anytime you want.
Take you up on that.
Absolutely.
We're about to plan. We're about to plan it after. So
Yep.
That's going to be it for us, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Colts Cast today. We're live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or any platform you use to listen to podcasts. We'll be back next time to give you some more Indianapolis Colts content. Y'all take care.
Take care.